this morning. I want to take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about who I am, what I believe in, and why I want to serve as your next United States Senator. I would like to think that most of you already know about who I am, but maybe not. They took Paulding County away from me, gave it to my good friend Tom Graves. Tom's a great young member and doing a wonderful job. But Paulding is really next door to my home in Cobb County. I am a native Georgian. I was born in Augusta. I went to high school there. I worked my way through Georgia Tech, but I promise all you Bulldog fans, I love Mark Richt. I love the new president. I've learned to bark with the best of them. I plan to tailgate over there this fall. But then back to Augusta and the Medical College of Georgia and that degree in medicine. But really the best year of my life, I guess, was the next year when I came back to Atlanta, chose Grady Memorial Hospital as a place to intern. And during that year I met a really bright, very pretty Delta flight attendant named Billy, who became my wife and to this day is the center of my life. We have four adult children and their spouses, and among them they have provided us with 13 grandchildren and 2 sets of twins that are those are girls. Those 4 are all girls, and so we've really been blessed. I've enjoyed practicing in Marietta 38 years, practiced 26 years, of course. The last 11 I've been in the Congress. But delivering those 5,200 babies and having that opportunity has been the joy of my life. But you know, like so many of you, you reach a point where you want to do something a little more. You want a public service. It just gets in your blood. And I ran for the Marietta City School Board. I did that for 4 years, and I served 4 years in the Georgia Senate. I loved every minute of it. And then back in 2002, I had the opportunity to run for an open congressional seat. Was elected the 11th of Georgia. It's changed drastically since then. It was sort of the original Newt Gingrey district, and so I've served over 20 counties and been reelected now to my 6th term. I'm in my 11th year, and as I say, I have enjoyed every minute of that. What I want to talk to you now about is what I believe in, and I think it's really what you believe in too, because I have been your voice. I will be your voice in not just 20 counties but 159. So my beliefs are your beliefs. You've given me the opportunity to speak for you in Washington, whether it's to talking about taxed enough already. Absolutely we are. Balanced budgets. We need a constitutional amendment to hold the feet to the fire of the members of Congress. We need a global economy. We need free but fair markets. We strongly believe, don't we, in the wisdom of the Constitution and the wisdom of the Founding Fathers. We believe in the importance of faith and family, as Michael was just describing. What could be more important than that? And last but certainly not least, the sanctity of every human life. Every human life. I will stand here this morning, and I'm having this opportunity to speak to Paulding County. I want you to know that I firmly believe that this is not the time for a member of the United States Senate to be sort of conservative or even mostly conservative. I think this is a time for a member of the United States Senate to stand rock solid on conservative principles and not budge. I'm not interested in being part of a gang of 4 or 6 or 8 and cut deals with Chuck Schumer and Harry Reid and these people. Did your parents or your grandparents ever talk to you about swapping knives? You know what I'm talking about, right? You want to make sure you get a bigger knife. And with that crowd, I don't think we ever do. I don't think we ever do. They snooker us every time. I don't mind being a gang of one. I don't mind standing strong. I heard Ted Cruz speak last night at the National Federation of Republican Women downtown, you know, and it's the first time I'd actually heard him speak. But, you know, we need a few more non-osteoporotic vertebrae in the spine of the United States Senate. Am I getting too technical? I think you know exactly what I mean. And so, while a member of Congress, I have been honored to have an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association. I've been endorsed every year by Georgia Right to Life for my stance on the issue. And as I say, I'm so proud to deliver those 5,200 babies. I get accused of delivering my margin of victory. I told Jack Kingston the other day, I said, you watch out now, I'm going to beat you by 5,200 votes in that runoff or whatever. But we're all friends now. I hope we can stay that way. But look, you know, I go across the state, and we'll really do that in August, the so-called August recess, the month, the 5 weeks. You know, the first 6 weeks has been all about trying to raise money and have a viable candidacy and hire the right people to give you the right kind of advice, and that's hugely important. There's no doubt about that. But you can't change who you are. You just have to be a good listener and understand that there are professionals that can help you get elected. And we're doing that. But in the month of August, 5 weeks, we're going to be all over the state. And I know when I ask north, south, east, west what the 3 most important things are, it's going to be jobs, and you guessed it, jobs. Obama came in January of 2009 and moaning and groaning and whining about inheriting a terrible economy and losing 700,000 jobs a month and all of that. There may have been a modicum of truth to that, but what a whiner! What an absolute whiner! So if that were the case, why in the heck didn't he then spend and prioritize getting people back to work and getting the economy going instead of trying to cram cap and trade down our throats, come up with a $850 billion stimulus bill on shovel-ready projects, and what we do, just big old hole. I guess they threw the shovels in the hole to help fill it up. But those jobs don't last. They don't last. We needed real jobs and created in the marketplace, jobs that last, manufacturing jobs, and then think about it. 2 years of just nothing but Obamacare. And I was just right there on the front line as a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee and the Health Subcommittee and one of the founding members of the House GOP Doctors Caucus. There are about 17 MDs on the Republican side of the House. So we have a good group. And probably 500 years of clinical experience seeing patients. You know, not doing research, but seeing patients. And fortunately right now, the Republican leadership is really listening to us, and we are on the verge of, and I don't want to overpromise, I'd rather underpromise than overdeliver, but if there are any people in the healthcare space here this morning, surely there are, I promise you next week we are going to mark up the elimination of SGR, that sustainable growth rate payment to doctors where they get cut year after year after year on Medicare, and they're on the verge of just saying, I'm not going to see y'all anymore, we can't. We're going to get that done. We're going to get that done. But for Obama to do what he has done, and even today, what is it, 3 and almost a half years later, it was March of 2010, wasn't it, when this bill passed and he signed it into law, the economy is still in the tank. What is the true unemployment rate? Can anybody really give me a number? It's not 7.6%.
14%.
Yeah, 14% with underemployment and people just saying, you know, I give up. There's nothing I can do. And I'm talking about those people struggling. It's not that they're home or out on the golf course. They're probably on antidepressants and because they now realize that they're going to outlive their money. So when I stand and offer to the Georgians and I say that, you know, I don't want to pass on to our children and our grandchildren $45,000 worth of debt from the moment of conception almost, that's important. Sure, it's important. I've got these 4 adult children and their spouses, all of whom are working. In some cases, it is the women that are the major breadwinners. And the dads are my son-in-laws who are driving the carpools and working out of the house. So, I mean, that's fine. I have no, life changes, and we understand that. And women's issues are our issues. They're hugely important. We're all struggling with the same thing. But I am not going to let this guy, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, let me change that. I'm not going to let this president destroy our country. We are right on the precipice, aren't we? We cannot go any further. We owe more than 110% of the gross domestic product. And if you think about what we really owe in regard to the obligations of Social Security and Medicare, as soon as a person starts paying 1 dime of FICA, we have an obligation to them. That's their money. And as soon as they get age 62, they're eligible for Social Security. And that unfunded liability is probably $75 trillion in addition to that 17 that we like to talk about. So my pledge to you as your next United States Senator is to all 3 generations. Our kids who are struggling, the parents of our grandchildren, those grandchildren, and the million seniors in this state of Georgia who are struggling. Their 401k has gone away. They have nothing left to leave to their children or their grandchildren. They're in good health. They ought to be enjoying life. We're all living long, and thank God for that. But in poverty, and nothing has been done about Social Security or Medicaid. To make sure those Medicare claims are honored and that those doctors are paid, and they're still there for you to get to see. What good is it to have a Medicare card or an exchange card or a Medicaid expanded card if there's no doctor to see you? I mean, I'm not denigrating the mid-level practitioners, but they're not doctors. And that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen in this country. I'll close with this. I'm running for those reasons that I just mentioned. And I've just got this feeling, this gut feeling, that it's a responsibility for me to run. I can't run away from this fight. I can't. I've done it for 11 years, and we're not there yet. It's not over. We can win it. We can win it. But not if somebody like me just says, well, I gave it a good shot, and I'll go home. I can't do that. I can't do that to Georgians. You've heard the old expression, I'd rather wear out than rust out. And you remember what William Wallace said in Braveheart when they were all lined up. Longshank had about 5 or 10 times as many troops and all of the ammunition and munitions or whatever he had, and I guess Mel Gibson played that part, and he said, you know, if you want to go home and die in your bed, go ahead. But let's draw a line in the sand right here, and let's die right here for this cause. And that's what I want to do for you. Thank you, and God bless Georgia.